Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time on Target Morning Brief, where we invest in fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Welcome again to Las Vegas. I had to pick a new location this morning. Got booted out of my other one. Who else is crazy enough to be up at 5:30 Pacific time? But I am bringing this to you live about my market analysis, and today we're going to talk about Facebook. If you're following the news at all, Facebook obviously has been looked at for antitrust issues for a long time, along with Apple, Amazon, Google, all of the big names that also we like to invest in, of course, because they're the big names that you should have your money in. But Facebook, particularly because of the privacy concerns and things. So it's, they were basically, I could read it to you, a court decision that dismissed both federal and state antitrust complaints against it yesterday. So what does Facebook stock do? It moves 4% higher, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Facebook and the investing in it, as well as some of the other big names that are out there. For our question today, we're going to talk about thematic investing, which is where you invest in themes. So think clean energy, think infrastructure, think marijuana, think that sort of thing. We're going to break down the pros and cons of investing in themes. You know, I like it, but there's a downside to everything. No investing strategy is perfect, but certainly I like it when there are certain times you can capture a theme, catch the move up, like with infrastructure, and then move on to another theme, or maybe it's a long-term theme. But that's what we're going to talk about today. There are some trades. We do have some longs and shorts in the room. I don't like any of them. I don't plan on trading them. Today is a pretty low volume day, and we really there's one earnings report out across an ocean of stocks. So there's not a tremendous amount to talk about, but we'll take a look at it. We'll watch the market open, and if we don't trade, we'll just cover the long-term stuff and leave from there. All right, with that, let's go ahead. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you are want to join us live, it's $25 a month to come into the room. There are some changes with Zoom that took place today, so there's some new functionality, and I like it. So thanks, Zoom, for making your product even better. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is your lineup card for today, sharing it out. And now you can see welcome to the brief. Make sure you use your call sign. And also, I think the chat and Q&A windows, all attendees, I'm going to have to read. Let's adjust that right now. Let's get that out of there because it has everyone now in the chat, which I like, right? So save that real quick and moving on. I like it. All right, standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything that you hear me say this morning. Just got a note that nobody can get in. I do have some folks in the room, so let's. Anyhow, sorry about that for the person that just hit me up. We'll catch it on replay. All right, standard disclaimer applies. Financial education presentation. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, today is Tuesday, June 29th. We're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically today, we're talking about growing our money in names like Facebook. And Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon. I think of things when I go to invest. I think of what's the stuff that I physically touch every day, right? I touch my iPhone. I live on this thing, right? You probably live on yours too. I'm on Facebook every day. I'm saying happy birthday to friends, posting some silly stuff. It's kind of a fun outlet. I also treat Facebook as a digital scrapbook because I like the memories function. So I'm actually posting pictures that I'm going to want to see in the future because I love that feature that they have. When you think of Google, I don't know how many times a day do you Google something? A lot, right? And I don't buy something on Amazon every day, and I don't go to Home Depot every day, but certainly when I go to buy something, I think Amazon, Home Depot, Costco's another great stock to own. I don't have that as widely held as I do Home Depot, but these are certainly names that when you think of, the power, Netflix is another one. I don't like the stock as much, but it's certainly something that you touch almost every day, right? So that's a great way to invest. All right, with but Facebook specifically, the antitrust stuff being dismissed, we'll take a look at the chart. I'll tell you a little bit about my story if you haven't heard it before, about how I bought in right after the IPO. I sold it, bought it back, that sort of thing, and I will break that down when we have the chart in front of us. Our question today, what is theme investing or thematic investing? Again, we talked about a little bit in the open, is that it's basically picking a theme out there, and ETFs are probably the best way, to play it. You can do it with individual stocks, but it's kind of better to group a bunch, right? Pick a group of the heavy hitters in the theme, and own those and watch those power forward. So you don't have to actually find the best of breed that's in that's in the space, right? You just kind of own the major players and go from there. So we'll talk about that a little bit. All right, our flow today will be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to look at the market review, go around the headline review, look at long-term investments, either Facebook, we're going to take a look at, and also Apple as well. We'll take a look at some short-term stuff, but probably not too much today, and then move on into contingencies and chat usage are standard. All right, let's go ahead and share out the screen here. Share. I'm going to check one thing. That's the difference. Okay. All right, pressing on. I see what happened there. We'll get into that tomorrow. All right, as far as let's go ahead and check the long-term going around the world. Quote monitor is where we are as the S&P 500. This is a 9-month chart. 427 all-time highs. Basically, we're bouncing off of. So you want to continue to, watch the market power higher. Could we come in? Sure, I've used 400 as a range that even if it dropped all the way down to 400, I don't really care. We would still be in an uptrend, right? So I'm not too worried about that. But it is what it is as far as the market. Can you invest in a market that's powering higher? Yes, you can. You just have to be very selective when you do it. All right, as far as the looking in at the 5-day, we'll zoom in here a little bit. This is the S&P 500, straight up. Does it continue today? I don't know. I think today could take a breather, and then we'll go on into the market power and higher again tomorrow. All right, and here's what we have set up for the trades today. We have the S&P 500 on the left. We have two shorts, Iova, which is a biotherapeutic firm, Iovance, and then we also have Reshape Life Sciences as well over here on the right. These are both shorts. Again, I don't particularly care for them. As far as, and there's longs today. I don't really care for any of those. They just don't have the volume. So we'll take a look at both of these. I really don't plan on trading today, but we will see. And maybe if they set up perfectly, then I'll change my mind. That's why we look at the setup every day. Okay, let's go over to check out the futures. Here we are. All right, let me refresh these real quick. Futures are looking better than they were earlier, right? So the everything's in the green except for the NASDAQ, and it's actually a lot closer than it was when I got up about an hour ago to start researching things. So really, we'll see how it goes. All right, as far as EU, over in the Europe markets are all in the green. That's probably why these are getting carried higher, is the European markets are basically going straight up. Asia straight down about 1% across the board there. Looking at bonds, sitting right at 1.5% for the 10-year. Talked a little bit about refinancing with the client yesterday. Yeah, if you're paying more than 3, you need to get back at it. I mean, nobody likes to refinance, but and I don't know if the window is going to close anytime soon, but certainly higher interest rates are in the air, right? It's being discussed. So if you're paying above 3, get your house down to 3. Whether you take cash back out or whether you leave it in and try to pay the thing off, that's kind of up to you. Mathematically, with low interest rates, you're a little better off by getting cash back out and putting that cash to work other ways. But hey, that's getting fancy. It really is. And I got that. Some people just don't want to get fancy. That's fine. If you were born and raised to pay your house off, pay the house off or pay it off on time. But if you do want to get the most out of your money, there's other ways to make some money out there. So anyhow, enough on that. All right, let's take oil, $73. So again, hanging out above that range. Did have a client talk today about, do I expect a fuel shortage this summer? I personally don't, but I think it is a compelling argument that we're all going to be out and about. We're going to be traveling everywhere. We already are kind of, that mentality. And I do think that that holds some weight. I'm not sure that's going to move the price of oil. But that and some shots fired in the Middle East yesterday, or maybe it was Sunday night. I think it was over the weekend. But, those sorts of things are the type of things that can move oil. But I'm not when it's above the range. Now, if we're sitting at 43, I would say yes all day long. The price of oil is going up. When we're sitting at 73, it's kind of tough to go, yeah, we're just going to go up from here. So not interested in that trade myself, but if you are, there's two ETFs out there you can play oil up or down called DIG, D-I-G, or DUG, D-U-G. IG is a levered oil, going higher, and DUG is a levered ETF with oil going lower. So just be careful if you get in those, because those obviously can move. All right, take a look at gold and silver, down actually pretty big this morning on both sides. And then crypto been kind of creeping back higher. So you got Bitcoin up at 36,000, Ethereum, nice jump as well. And then look at the jump in Ripple, right? So if that's your thing, then they are on the way back up. All right, let's take a look at some headlines out there. All right, analyst calls. We talked about analysts yesterday. I mean, they're not, they're something to consider, not something to hang your hat on, right? When an analyst makes a call. So obviously you can read these. Sometimes they move the stock, sometimes they don't. FedEx, a top pick. Yeah, well, FedEx has been a top pick for a long time. FedEx and UPS, Amazon didn't kill them. And in fact, Amazon uses them, right? To help with their extra volume. So, peacefully coexist, if you will, with Amazon is about the best you can hope for. All right. GE, top idea. Don't know if I buy that at all. UBS cutting Tesla stock price. I do buy that, but we'll see. Even though I've been riding around in Teslas for the past 3 days, it's kind of fun. They have that underground tech loop system out here, which I do need to do a video on later today. I'll make one because it's a pretty cool way of transit. It could be the future of transportation. Who knows? All right. JP Morgan, we have to talk about the banks. I'm looking for the headline. I don't see it, but all of the banks yesterday increased their dividends except for one. So that's pretty, they had their stress tests. I don't really see it. They had the stress test that all the banks have to go through, and now they can raise their dividends, reduce their capital requirements as long as you're making as long as you're making it happen. So with that, JP Morgan is the way to invest in it. I would not go with any other out there. All right. You do have some funny communications from Tom Brady with his laser eyes. Remember, laser eyes is where he changed his Twitter profile. They have the laser eyes, meaning I'm not going to sell, that sort of thing. Yeah, he kind of walked that back, which is kind of funny. All right. Enough of the headlines. I do want to look at the Facebook stock chart here real quick. I mean, take a look at this thing, and then we'll talk about the IPO. So the IPO, I think, was around 2012-ish time frame, and you have the stock price, immediately ran up. All the movie stars hopped into the name. It was the best thing, the best thing ever, right? And then all of a sudden, it runs up to $45 and it starts crashing down. Well, that's why you don't necessarily hop into an IPO right away. So you get in and you get in a point you like. So it came all the way down to $17. I bought in. It ran up to 33. I sold from 33 to, I sold, and then I bought it back like an hour later at 34 because I was listening to the conference call, and Zuckerberg was saying everything is going, he's changing the world sort of stuff. And when he's saying that, it's like kind of crazy because it was the absolute truth out there. So, I bought it right back, and I've held some shares ever since. I've kind of trimmed, and so, but when you trimmed on occasion, but when you look at this chart, I mean, look at this, bouncing off of 355. I mean, that's crazy. All right, let's switch over and get set up for the market open. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On-Time and Target Play of the Day. We have 10 seconds to the market open. You have the S&P 500 on the left, and you have IOVA over here as a short, and you have RSLS as a short. So both of those are, there's the opening bell. We'll keep an eye on both of these shorts. Obviously, you can't even take, this is 20% now. RSLS falling off a cliff. That dropped $1 in the last just a few minutes. And then you have IOVA. Again, I said I'm not going to trade today, but we'll kind of watch this for a second. As goodness, looking at RSLS just fall off a cliff, right? So this is one of these, if you happen to take a little bit pre-market, which sometimes you do. I mean, look at this thing. This thing's down 23%. It's moved quite a bit while we're even talking, which is pretty crazy. So that's it for the short-term stuff. I'm going to go back over to the long-term stuff today and take a look at what's going on. WNRS up 9%, Clickstream up 4%. Both of those are pretty high speculative names. AMC is in play. There's a new hashtag out there called AMC Queens, which is kind of and Queen Apes, if you will, to where, if you will, females are posting pictures of themselves, as AMC stockholders and saying we're not selling. So interesting marketing, or people blowing up their Facebook and Instagram with this sort of thing. I don't know, interesting. AMC, obviously, when you look at the stock, I would say not touch it, right? Because it's a meme stock. But hey, if you want in on this, AMC, there's a lot of people out there legitimately aren't selling. So that kind of makes it crazy, if you will. There's Boeing after the big sell-off yesterday is going back higher. JP Morgan, I would expect to see the bank names kind of move up today. XLF is all the financials out there. BlackRock moving up. Haven't looked at BlackRock in a while. It was toying with the idea of getting around 1,000. Let's see where it is. 885. So it kind of powers higher from there. There's Bank of America. So see some other financial names there. All right, on the downside, what do we have? We have Roblox selling off, CRISPR selling off after what, a 9% move yesterday. So I'm not really sweating that too much. And again, these are only a couple percent. TMRC, speculative name KWeb selling off, unfortunately. That's one of my favorite names out there. Alibaba, same thing, completely undervalued. You look at the BABA chart, tried to come up and sold back off a little bit, so 226 or so. It's I love the entry point here. I think it's going back above 300 or so. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at going back to close out for the day. Back to Google Chrome and talk about theme investing. Talked about this a little bit earlier. There's not much on this other than if you pick a theme out there, say marijuana or sports gambling, or clean energy or cloud computing, any of that stuff, you basically take the theme and then you go, how can I put my money behind it? You immediately look, or at least I do as a professional investor, I look for the best of breed stock out there. And if I can find a best of breed, I'm going to go with that. In the marijuana space, you could go with Canopy Growth or Aurora Cannabis. Those are even though they're the biggest names in the space, they're still pretty speculative still. It's really hard to go all in on, names like that. So, you spread it out, right? You go either to MJ, which is the old something harvest. I can't remember exactly, but the medical version of that, which now becomes, let's go into the recreational use and becomes all in one, if you will. Clean energy has everything from Tesla to solar panels, you name it, they have it out there. Wind power, it's going to be everything all included into one, or you can try to find the best of breed. Obviously, with the theme investing, if that theme goes out of favor, then you're in trouble, right? So if you go to a marijuana theme and the government comes out and cracks down on marijuana, you're going to lose a lot of money. Sports gambling, if you think you're going to make a lot of money because sports gambling is going to get legalized across the board, and you're wrong, and the government comes in and says, nope, we're not doing that, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Same thing with cryptocurrency. This is not a thematic thing, but if you buy the theme of crypto, which is kind of the dollar's a fiat currency. I mean, that's a fact. It is a fiat currency. But if you buy crypto is the wave of the future, then you buy either some crypto, or if they had one, you'd buy the crypto ETF. Then unfortunately, there just really isn't a pure crypto ETF. That's like a US dollar ETF, right? It kind of doesn't make sense. The SEC struggled with it. Even Kathy Wood from ARK Investments has come forth and has proposed to start a crypto ETF. But is it going to happen? I don't know. How do you put money into an ETF? It's easy to make sense when you put stocks into an ETF, but how do you put money into an ETF? So the cons are the pros are, if you're right, you make a lot of money. The cons, until a best of breed emerges, and you can shift your dollars to a best of breed. The con is you can if your underlying facts are wrong, then you have some issues there. So all right, that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for checking in. Sorry a couple of you couldn't get in the room. I will fix that for tomorrow, and with that, I'm gonna let you go, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on Wednesday. Bye.